Hi guys, Louis Dangoor here from Give Me Sport with a very special interview. Someone, I always say this, but someone that I've wanted to speak to for a while. He is two-time WWE champion. He is the UK's own. He's not Scottish. He's from the UK. We'll claim him. We've got Drew McIntyre here. Drew, how you doing?
Absolutely fabulous, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. I'm enjoying the shows being back to normal. It's nice to have wrestling back properly. I know it continued, but it's nice to have it properly back.
Yes, tell me about it. It's only been a few weeks now, but what a difference walking out there and having the live fans, even before the show, just hearing the fans filing into the building and watching all the guys and girls backstage getting excited, their adrenaline going. And I know mine starts going, my heart starts pumping. It's a really cool feeling. Like every weekend we're back on. It's not just TV every week and one pay-per-view every month. We got the live events of the weekend. The crowds have been wild, huge attendances, and obviously TV every week. And my goodness, we're getting close. We're getting close to SummerSlam. It's gonna be freaking huge.
We are. How have you found getting back on the road? Like, because as you said, it's not just going to TV every week in the same venue as it was. You guys are now back on the road for Raw, back on the road for live events. Have you found that adjustment quite hard after being on the road for so many years?
I've enjoyed it, but yeah, it's going to take a minute to get used to the flights and car rides again. But I've spent my whole life on the road. I enjoyed the time home, especially with the missus and the cats. But I belong on the road. I'm a road warrior. I'm excited to be back on the road. I dove right into the deep end. Drew McIntyre likes to keep himself busy, be it with WWE in the ring or my media outside the ring. So I started with a live event Saturday, live event Sunday, Raw Monday, flew to LA on Tuesday, filmed in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, get back on Friday, left again on Saturday. That's how I like to keep myself busy and jump right back into the deep end.
Well, someone that actually spoke about your media this week was Sheamus. Don't know if you've seen what he said. I think he said, someone that's not very interesting. Why are you doing so much media? I mean, I know, we know you and Sheamus have had a history together. Your response to his comments that he made this week?
I think somebody's a little bit jealous and nobody wants to speak to Sheamus very often. I listened to it and I knew the tone that they said it in as well. Like he's messing around and we mess with each other. And then the dirt sheets grab the headline and go, Sheamus says McIntyre, not interesting. You listen to it and you can hear the tone. He's just messing around. But yeah, I'm just going to give him crap. And I've already texted him saying, come on, buddy, I'll send some media your way. I do about 95 hours a week. You're a little bit jealous. You want some more screen time, some more TV time? I'll get you. I'll look after you.
Well, I did actually want to ask about that because, I mean, as someone that has covered wrestling news for the last year and a half, really, since you won the Rumble, I don't know if there's been a week gone by where I haven't seen you doing some media in some capacity. I know that you've taken that on, really sort of doing a lot of the media appearances, more than anyone, it seems. Speak to us a little bit about that. Is that something you've pushed for, to do more media? Have you really pushed during this difficult time to be the guy speaking to all of these media outlets and getting WWE's name out there? And have you enjoyed, I guess, speaking to so many different people from so many different countries?
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't do it so often if I didn't enjoy it so much. And I did push, give me as much as possible, give me the ball. I've always wanted the opportunity to represent the company, obviously on screen in a high capacity, but also off screen and try and draw those new eyeballs in for a number of reasons. But I guess the biggest one of all this year is growing that confidence. I saw it as such a unique opportunity that if I'm going to be home, I want to start working on things that are maybe my weak areas and they're very important within WWE, and obviously getting good at media is a big part of it. So I said, give me it all. I want to get so good during this time period that I'm actually home, that when we're back out on the road, you can put me on any television show, any radio interview, and I'll be able to represent myself and the company the way we should be represented. And also, a lot of people say no to these things. And I'm like, this isn't a real job. I've got mates back in Scotland who are working real jobs, a lot of hours a week, very, very difficult. This is all I've ever wanted to do. This is a dream. And if you put me in a situation where I'm going to sit down every day, chat to people like yourself about WWE and me, and get myself screen time as well as putting WWE over, like, this is living the dream. If you don't want to do it, Drew McIntyre is going to do it, I assure you.
It's great to hear. And obviously, you mentioned earlier you guys being back on the road. Something I wanted to ask about was the reaction you've got from the fans, because the majority of your real hot babyface run came in front of no one, which is incredibly unfortunate, but you were killing it. I mean, at WrestleMania and all through that summer, being Drew McIntyre, top babyface of WWE. And then we return to fans. And I don't know about you, but the reaction to me has been what I would call the three people that it's like is Cena, Charlotte, and Roman Reigns, where everyone's like, we know how good this guy is, but you seem to be getting a little bit of a mixed reaction anyway, which to me has been quite surprising. What about the reaction anyway from your perspective on what you've been hearing at these shows? I know there was this production gaffe on Raw this week where there were rumors that there were piped in chants when it seemed it was just like a production error and something was laid underneath like a commercial or something. But speak to us a little bit about the reaction you've got from fans, and I guess if that surprised you or if you kind of expected it to be this way.
Yeah, I really don't know what I expected, to be honest, because realistically, when you're in a prominent role on the show, especially to the level I was before WrestleMania 2020, from January to got a couple of months ago, realistically 18 months straight, I was involved with the WWE title, 14 pay-per-views straight, I was champion. We're fighting for the title, and our audience sometimes get a little restless and say, okay, we like this guy, but he's been a bit much in our face, so we're kind of going to rebel against that and give us something different. And we still like them, just put them over here, have them doing something different. So if you listen to some of social media and the vocal minority, you would think I was going to get booed out of the freaking building. And I just care that people make noise. That's what I'm all about. As long as you're invested enough to cheer or boo, as long as you're not indifferent, I was ready for anything. And with the crowds back, I finally have like that interaction back. And I know I've got a good back and forth with the audience just growing up in wrestling and kind of knowing how to have a good time with them. So I was just going to go with whatever happened. So I was pleasantly surprised to hear, the predominantly cheers. And, on the first night, the Money in the Bank match, certainly people were very vocal about who they wanted to win. And I think the right person won, Big E, that night. But afterwards, Raw the next night, Raw every week, the live events, I've been pleasantly surprised with the amount of cheers. And it's really cool the fans, have stuck by me because I've just basically been myself most of the time. So I've been out there, and when it comes to the promos, they know I'm a badass, kick-ass, whatever. But the real Drew is silly. I tell silly dad jokes. There's times throughout the year where I've been the recap man, the hype man. I was telling those funny, stupid Scottish stories sometimes, but I'm willing to
turn into a history teacher at some point.
Yeah, I'm willing to try stuff and throw things against the wall and just have a laugh and see what sticks. We're 52 weeks a year. If you're the same guy all year, it's really boring. But thankfully, just in time for the crowds coming back, I say thankfully, Jinder screwed me out of the Money in the Bank ladder match, but I'm in a situation where I do what I do best and what the fans, I guess, like to see me doing. And that's being a badass with a purpose. My purpose, take out Jinder Mahal and the guys, and I just get to be in arse kicking mode, which is, I believe, what the live fans like to see me do. And we've hope you probably noticed, hopefully, I have that back and forth with the crowd. A lot of people are very focused on getting their material out and their lines out, etc., and forget that people are there. Some are great with it. Charlotte's got a great, back and forth, reacting to the people live. And I just love just having that back and forth. And I never really got to do it in WWE until that run between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. And finally, I was like a good guy, and they told me, Drew, go be yourself. And I would do exactly what I did in the Indies from 2014 to 2017. We'd just go out there, be Drew Galloway, be the real guy, have a laugh with them, but at the same time, within the confines of the story that I'm in at that time. So yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised by the reactions, let's say that.
You mentioned your stuff with Jinder Mahal. I know you've spoken publicly in interviews, so has he, about really wanting this program. Probably was going to happen last year before he unfortunately got injured. You're coming around to SummerSlam now. Looks like that's going to be the direction for the show. Speak to us about your relationship with Jinder, both behind the scenes and on screen, the long history you guys have had together, and sort of when you found out you'd be working this program throughout the summer.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're finally got a chance to do something, and the timing just for the fans coming back is perfect. So we do have a legitimate history. We do have legitimate chemistry. It looked like we were going to do something in the past, but Jinder got hurt and was out for a very long time. But as you can see, just taking one look at him, he's been working very, very hard, getting ready for this comeback. He looks great. He's in the zone, and we have a story that is real, like from a character perspective to me and to him, which is exciting. We started off with sword stuff and the motorbike stuff, whatever. Like some people care about that. But the real stuff is he screwed Drew McIntyre out of the one thing he cares about, the WWE title. All McIntyre's focused on is being real Drew as well, is being WWE champion, leading the company forward, being champion in front of the fans, finally holding the title up in front of the fans for the first time. Obviously got screwed up in the Hell in a Cell match by MVP, and the Lashley match. Can't fight for the title so long as Lashley's champion. Money in the Bank was his last chance. And Jinder, one of his oldest friends, knew that and took it away from him. So the one goal he had doesn't exist anymore. Suddenly the story becomes more real. The more real it is, people can invest in the story. And now that I'm coming for him, all that energy that I had becoming WWE champion is focused into taking out Jinder and his guys, and allows me to take the physicality to a whole different level, because showing everybody how dangerous I can be in the ring and unpredictable I can be. But when you take away the one thing I love, you're reminded of that psychopath side when I hit a man 34 times with a chair as soon as I get screwed and point a sword to somebody's throat live on television. So when I say Drew's going to kill you, that ain't an empty threat. There's a chance Drew might kill you on TV.
It was those chair shots. I was like, they just kept coming, and then they just kept coming. But it was,
we've got to get back and forth. The audience and I, like I talked about, if there was no crowd there, it might have been like 10, 11, 12 chair shots. But then the audience joined in and started counting, and then I got a little carried away and broke a chair, so I had to get another chair, and I just kept going and going and going. And backstage, like the doctors were worried about Shanky's back. I heard, I'm over there like, man, my shoulder and forearms are killing me. How much stamina it takes to swing a chair that many times. Like, nobody's giving no Drew McIntyre sympathy, checking on my arms and shoulders and like my forearms that are all cramping up after swinging it so many times.
I mean, glad you've recovered now from that vicious.
Thank you. That's the first best sympathy I've had. 34 chair shots and keep going that pace. That is impressive.
So I want to speak a little bit about Jinder, and I guess for me anyway, unfair criticism that he gets. I know that you guys have a close relationship. You've obviously seen him win the WWE Championship, take on this mantle where he's main eventing pay-per-views. He's feuding with Randy Orton and AJ Styles, and he's got this role. And I guess he, in my view anyway, got quite a lot of unfair flack during that period and since. What are your sort of, thoughts on the criticism that Jinder gets, potentially how fair or unfair that is, and sort of your, recollection of his title reign and the work he was doing at that time?
Yeah, I think a lot of it came from, it just came out of nowhere. It wasn't like myself, and there was a kind of build to that big moment and telling the story and the history. He has a similar story, an exact same story actually, when it comes to getting fired. But the position he was in at the time, it was just kind of hot shot, and I think that's why people were kind of negative. But I think he done a great job with the opportunity that was presented, and perhaps a little inexperienced at the time, but still, in my opinion, just whatever he was asked, did it to the best of his abilities. But where he's at now, I know we're about to show that he's on a different level right now. When it comes to the character stuff, being comfortable, no one's expected of him in a top role from his end. And when it comes to the in-ring stuff, I'm going to bring some stuff out of him perhaps nobody's ever seen. That's what I see as one of my strongest points, is the physicality and the match quality perspective. I want to show everybody that he can go at a different level in the ring, that you remember him being able to go last time he was in a significant match. So you're going to see a lot, I hate using the word work rate, but a lot higher work rate in the ring, let's say, you've seen in the past from Jinder. But from a character perspective, he's so comfortable. He knows exactly who he is. And that's the most important thing when you're in a deep storyline we're about to get into, because we've barely scratched the surface. He talked about how people kind of resented when he won the title, and how kind of universally praised I was when I won the title. For him, that's a slap across the face. I was like, wait a minute, I've got the same story as this guy. I was fired the same day as this guy. I came back sooner, won the title 3 years prior to him, and you're all gonna say I'm useless, I'm an experiment, a failed champion, and you're gonna praise the guy who did it 3 years later. That's BS from his point of view. And he's worked extremely hard as well. So he feels like, okay, I'm going to show you all that there's a reason I did it quicker than Drew McIntyre's, because I'm better than Drew McIntyre. I'm going to prove it to him. I'm going to prove it to everyone else. There's so many avenues we can go, and we've got SummerSlam coming up. But as I say, from a storyline perspective, we've barely scratched the surface.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to that match. Hopefully at SummerSlam we'll see it. But speaking of SummerSlam, before I get on to my next question, we're going to do a little bit of trivia with you, Drew. Hope you don't mind. So, John Cena, the last match, excluding the Firefly Funhouse match, he wrestled. Do you remember when that was?
I mean, if you're asking me, I imagine I was probably involved, and I've only been involved in multi-man matches with him. So it was probably a four-way.
It was?
With, myself, Cena, Corbin, and Finn. Finn won to fight Brock.
I Tell you what, that's impressive. That's very impressive knowledge. But Cena, I mean, he's WWE's a big brand, but he is Hollywood megastar. He is, while working for WWE at the moment, he's got movies out. He's doing all of this press. What is the impact of having someone like John Cena involved with WWE while also being involved in all of these other other activities outside of wrestling? What impact does that have on you guys and I guess the locker room as a whole when you see someone like him backstage and doing all of this really cool stuff?
Yeah, an impact on us is this is awesome. Having John backstage because he genuinely wants to be there. He loves this. He'd be doing it full time if he physically could. So when he's there, you know, you're an idiot if you don't pick his brain, because that's somebody who doesn't just get it, gets it in the highest possible level when it comes to the storytelling, the psychology, in every possible area of the company. And I know I harass him as soon as I get the opportunity to. So I just want to learn from him. When it comes to being on the show, you mentioned he's in all these giant Hollywood movies that are out and coming out. He's bringing those eyeballs, all those eyeballs. When I do all my media interviews, etc., I'm trying to attract. I'm just trying to explain to people that maybe don't watch wrestling or lapsed fans why you should check it out. And hopefully they listen to me and check it out. But for a lot of people, it's, oh, John Cena's back, I'm going to check it out. Or, oh, that guy from that movie's in the wrestling, I didn't know he was a wrestler, I'm going to check it out. And they see him, that's cool, but they also see our other superstars and how good they are. And then they're, okay, well, I like this guy, I like this girl, I'm going to continue to watch the show. So, you know, someone like a John Cena has a massive impact. And the best thing of all is he just genuinely loves WWE more than anything.
That's awesome to hear. Before we wrap up this portion, I wanted to speak a little bit about SummerSlam coming up. In, I guess, a sentence or two, tell people why they've unequivocally got to be watching SummerSlam on August 21st at the in Las Vegas this year. Why have people got to be watching that show?
You got to be watching this show. Simply put, it's going to be unbelievable. This is our WrestleMania this year. You know, we had WrestleMania limited capacity. You know, it was a heck of a show. It was awesome to have fans there and have, you know, some of what you'd expect from WrestleMania, the larger than life feel, but there was limitations to it. Now this one, you know, this Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Saturday night is going to be absolutely rocking. The card's going to be stacked top to bottom. There will be surprises. It'll be an absolute visual spectacle. And the coolest thing about watching it is when you watch some other sporting events and they've got the bigger crowds back, you're like, man, this is cool. Feels like we're getting back to normal. You've got a WWE crowd. They're 100 times louder than any other sport in the world. On that night, we're going to be so happy to be together, getting back, cheering the thing we all love. If you check out that show, you're also, aside the fact you're going to get an awesome in-ring product, you can watch the fans and be like, man, look at that. Look how much fun they're having. We really are getting back to normal. What a great feeling. If you happen to be lucky enough to be there that night, my goodness, it's Saturday night. It's in Vegas. You're going to get to have fun at the show. There's all the activities around the show during the day for the kiddies. And at night, if you're over 21, Vegas never closes. You go out all night in Vegas. You get Sunday to recover. Vacation destination for everybody watching, everyone that's actually there. It's going to be a really cool event for the superstars. The biggest thing for me is I just can't wait for that feeling of, oh my goodness, look at all these people. We're back to normal.
Listen, we love seeing the fans there, but the only emotion I really get is so happy for you guys that you get to. The bumps probably hurt a little bit less when you're doing it in front of 60,000 people,
they do.
as opposed to no one.
I forgot about that. Like with adrenaline, like what a difference it makes. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to calm myself down. Like I get adrenaline surges when there's no fans there, and I forgot what it was like when there's a bunch of fans encouraging you. I was ready, calm myself down. Somebody's gonna get knocked out during one of these matches.
Awesome, Drew. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time. We really appreciate it. If people want to check you out on social media, anything you want to plug, shoot them our way.
Yeah, I don't remember my social media. D McIntyre WWE, I believe, on Twitter and Instagram. It's the one with the tick. Just if anyone messages you saying they're Drew McIntyre and they're like, hey, darling, how are you? This is Drew McIntyre's side account. Give me some cash because I don't have access to my accounts. Please don't do it, because I see these messages sometimes and I try to put out posts to tell people, just trust me, it's not me. If it doesn't have a blue tick, and unless there's a special occasion or you're working for a charity, it's probably not me. So just be smart, everybody. And also buy my book. If you want to hear the Drew McIntyre story, it's by my side. And yeah, that's wild as well. I've got a book. I still look to the right there, see it every so often. And when I get back home to the UK, I'm going to finally do an in-store signing I can't wait to do that. I've not been able to do one yet, obviously, with the times we're in, but I can't wait to, get to see everybody, especially back home in the UK.
I mean, I know it's a SmackDown tour, but if you're not here in September, I'll be personally writing to Vince.
There's a Glasgow show in that, yeah. Like if I'm not on the show, I'll just fly myself there and I'll just go home and I'll be like, I'm 20 minutes down the road. Can I just show up? No. Oh, okay.
Anyway, Drew, thank you so much for being so generous for your time and really, really appreciate chatting to you today.
You too, buddy. Thank you.